understanding the customer journey. And this is a really convoluted topic because you're going to have a lot of people talk about the customer journey in different ways. But the way that I teach the customer journey in my team at Funalytics and the partners that I work with is through this concept of like a momentum engine. Your business has an engine, and you have to not only build the engine and maintain the engine, but then you also have to continue to fuel the engine. And so we're going to break up this concept of the momentum engine into 4 sections, and it's an acronym. Of course, we all love our acronyms. That is ACDR, which stands for attract, close, deliver, retain. So there's the 4 phases. We're going to look at what those phases are, how you can apply them to your business. And then I'll give you an example of how this measuring or tracking or validating of these stages is leveraged within Funalytics. Okay, so what is the momentum engine? Well, first of all, it's a customer-centric framework. Whenever you're thinking about strategies, like Jim just said, you need to look and assess from the perspective of your customer. So if they don't have that bleeding, what did you call it, Jim? A bleeding neck desire?
Bleeding neck, man.
Yeah, they don't have that nail in the butt that they can't get out, and they're not crying over it, they're probably not ready for you. It doesn't mean that they're not right for you at some point. It just means that they're not ready. So always think about the perspective from your customers. What do they need? What do they think? What do they feel? What is their psychological state? What is their journey? What is their desire? Everything comes from them. And your services and your offers and your mission should be to support and fulfill that. So that's one side of the framework. The second side is the internal operations framework. So you can clearly and so wholeheartedly understand what's happening in the minds of your customers. But if your entire team doesn't understand how to bring that to life in terms of system strategies, operations, assets, etc., then you will continue to live in a fog. So you have to understand what they want, and then you have to understand what needs to happen in order to fulfill and marry those two. And this can be applied to any business, whether you're an agency, an e-commerce, software, coaching, offline. Like I said, this has been applied to over 700 businesses across 30 different industries, from commercial, agricultural, farming. I've done this with, $500 million a year egg farmer, legit, to the startup, personal training coach. So it doesn't matter where you're at. And you're going to break down your business into these components, and that will give you the milestone moments that you need to assess and check in on in order basically to fulfill. And once you do this, you will have a strategic outline to take people from cold strangers on the internet or in networking events or whatever to raving, loyal, dedicated fans who continue to bring it. So the first phase is, of course, attract, as I mentioned. And so this is really at the very top of your business, or the top funnel kind of strategies. And you need to understand what steps does a person need to go through in order to show interest in your product. So what are the indicators that are showing you when they put up their hand and they say, this is me, right? Are they consistently attending your lives? Are they commenting on your posts? Are they showing up on your webinars, your trainings? Do they opt in for your email? Do they open your emails? All of these sort of top of funnel activities, there are evidence when someone is approaching the ready to buy stage. Now, this is going to be different for each and every single business and every single industry. And sometimes it can be, separate for different markets within the same industry. So we're not going to dig into the specifics of this here, right? That's a lot of the work that you're doing with Jim and Cindy, but it's important to understand that that is its own segment. And getting people to just put up their hand, whatever the put up their hand kind of conversion event is the thing that you need to identify. And that is section number 1 of your business. Section number 2 is, of course, when they are ready to close. So what sales motions do you use to win customers with predictability? And so, of course, you're going through the event process, which is an incredibly time-tested, bomb-proof strategy to building your revenue, is to host an event and then leverage that event as the catalyst for a larger sales offer. And so what are the different motions that you're using to support that? Now, event is just one. There's other things. If you think about the event as like the sun in the center of that sales event, then there's going to be other things circling the sun that will support this. So what email strategies, what retargeting strategies are you using to support this close event? And how can you measure and understand whether or not they're predictable? And we're going to talk about that shortly. The third stage is, of course, deliver. So what steps do you need to do to deliver value to customers based on what you've offered them? Now, a big thing that people, and I was guilty to this as well, starting my businesses, is that we get really excited about the attraction and we have people coming in and then we start to go into delivery, right? I'm going to over-engineer this. I'm going to create this incredible experience. And this is what this person's going to do when they buy my first offer, and then they're going to love it. And they're going to fall in love and buy the second offer and third offer and fourth offer and fifth offer. But you haven't actually dialed in whether or not they're going to purchase the first thing yet. So a key component into understanding the stages of the business is where each of them stops. And that will allow you to make sure that you've dialed in the attract stage. And while leads are coming in, meaning when you've dialed that in, then and only then do you move on to mastering what you need to do to close. Because if you start to get too far down this, funnel or whatever, without dialing in the first, then you're going to have all these retention strategies in place, but no one's going to be booking the calls. No one's going to be downloading your lead magnets. And you're going to say, like, I've spent so much time building these incredible offers, but no one's taking them up. And it's because you haven't honored this stage of your business. Once you do, though, you'll be able to focus on close. Once you've dialed in the close, then you can really start to dial in and perfect or master how you're going to deliver, which is a hard stage because most entrepreneurs are perfectionists and we want to give, and we can't let it be out into the public until we're like totally proud of it. But along with I'm sorry, Jim, whatever you said about tattooing on your wrist, also tattoo, and I'm not even kidding you, I had this written on permanent marker on my hand for a solid 2 years. MVP. Who knows what that stands for? Any guesses?
Minimum viable product.
Yes, MVP, minimum viable product. All you need to do for deliver is deliver, honestly, like 10% of what you want at this stage. If you're getting started with even if you have an established business and you're just moving into a new market or testing out a new offer, just start with the minimum viable version of that product. Your market doesn't know the difference. Any extras, any benefits you bring to the table, you can include those as bonuses. And then those bonuses can become part of the regular curriculum, and then you'll have new bonuses. And then that cycle will continue, and suddenly you'll have this incredibly robust, $50,000 offer or whatever it is, but it's incremental. So MVP is the name of the game. And then once you dial in that MVP offer, this is where you can start to spend some time understanding how that is received and how effective that is in terms of delivering results to your team or your clients. And then you can start to say, what else can I do? How else can I show up? What else do you need? And then you start to create the ascension ladder and the plans and your like VIP retreats. You can have the title like VIP retreats at the very top of your profit pyramid, And you can just live there as a title. You don't actually have to have anything else defined, because at that stage, you're delivering on a different product. Okay, before we dive into the specifics here, is there any sort of red flags, questions, anything that's not very clear? You got it, Jackie.
So what I heard you say, and it's not on the slide, so I just wanted to make sure that I got it. You were talking about one of the things that I would have in my one-year program, which I actually put in, and I'm going to be talking with Ann about, is a high-end retreat for my lead coaches. And so you're saying I don't have to know what that is or anything else. I would just have that on my one pager on my when I'm talking about the program, that
Totally.
this is going to happen, but I don't have to have the details.
Because for each and every single offer, you're going to repeat this cycle. So offer one is like the attraction stage might be your lead magnet or your free webinar, or whatever it is that you're doing that you have to opt in, the non-monetary investment, but the thing that you do require their name and attention for, or email, which please honor that. Like I have a lot of clients at the beginning where they feel like, no, this is so good, I need to charge for this. I get that all the time. This is like absolutely worth money. I'm not saying it isn't, but if you don't have the reputation in the industry or the marketplace just yet, then have a piece of humble pie, friends, and just put it out there. Let some people consume it and then put a gate on it. I've had clients that we started with what was like a free lead magnet, like a 21-day guide to healthcare, for example. And we gave it away for free. And then we put a $17 ticket on it. And then we put a $27 ticket on it. And then we put a $47 ticket on it. And then we put an $87 ticket on it. And then we put a $97 ticket on it. And then we put a $127 ticket on it. And now people purchase that for $227. They can upsell to a one-on-one session with her for an additional $250. And then there's, programs and things that they upsell on the back end. And what was a freebie that we like MVP, we were putting it out there, just testing what worked. We dialed in, made a few edits and tweaks over the course of about 18 months. And now what was a free asset brings in on average $550 per time it's purchased. And you better believe that the people who do that and make it through the one or two upsells on the back end are still with her. They're lifelong coaches, clients of the coaching program.
And something else that does for you guys is these are easy ways to segment your buyers.
Totally.
Right? Because the person who pays the $227 and pays a $250 deposit to have a session to solve problems around this, they elevate themselves as a much higher likelihood of buying. The person is most likely having a bleeding neck problem, or they wouldn't spend that extra money to get this problem solved. Right. So give people an opportunity to say, yeah, I want to solve it at that level. Right. So, that's why we put VIP in everything we do, even if it's a free event. We want to make sure that there's people who can raise their hand and say, I am more interested than that person in solving my problem.
Absolutely. And this will also give you the opportunity to leverage data. So coming back to this data-driven decision-making, if you're just putting things out there and you're putting a ticket price on them, you don't know whether it's the price or the product that's ineffective, right? So by starting with just the product, and I'm not saying like, drain your bank accounts for the sake of helping people. Everything I do is profit focused. I donate a shit ton of money every single month to organizations that I'm proud of and honor and support. And we also are a for-profit organization. So money is a good thing. And I love making money and I love helping people make money. And I'm not so arrogant that I need to charge until I know it's worth something. So just put it out there, see if people want it. And if no one's picking it up, if no one's even downloading the freebie, probably not gonna, no one's gonna pull out their credit card and pay you $97 for it. So you have to start and use data, and without having like analytics and things set up, this is just low hanging fruit. Are people picking it up or not? Okay, cool. Everyone feel good about that? right, great. So how do we apply this theory into your business? Well, it's always good to start with the end in mind. So a concept we talk a lot about with clients when determining how to optimize is what is your core conversion event? For you guys, that's your QBAs, qualified booked appointments. That is the thing that, you know, if I have X number of these, and these are the qualified, right? So going down to segmentation and really knowing specifically who your market niche is. If I have an X number of these, then I know that with a certain level of predictability, I can expect this amount of revenue, because your conversion rate will be as such, your price point is as such, therefore top line revenue. And then obviously making sure that your expenses and your pricing makes sense so that your profit margins are sexy. These are all important little back end, but you have to know what it is that you're striving for. And so for you guys, that qualified booked appointments is that North Star. Now, before that, there's going to be other indicators, leading indicators that you want to have a pulse on. So depending on your channels of interest, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, there's going to be indicators as to which of these are notable and worthy. And so things like engagement rates, not vanity metrics. So I'm not talking about like likes and comments, because to be honest, like technology just lies to us most of the time. I don't know if you guys know about the iOS updates, but email open rates are pretty much bogus now. If your platform is open, or if your email, pardon me, is opened on a iOS device, an Apple device, or pardon me, if it's sent to an iOS device, it will be registered as opened in your platform, in your email service provider, whether it has been or not. It's just Apple's way of saying, like, stop being nosy about this information. So you have to find meaningful leading indicators. Newsletter opt-ins is a very good one. You know, people who are wanting more information from you. There's all sorts of different ones, different industries. It really depends on what your funnels are. And I'm sure the GTE team can help you. And of course, I'll be available for questions, and you guys can, you know, reach out to me and that kind of stuff as well. The second thing that you need to do is ask yourself some of the following questions. So first of all, what steps are we doing to attract our ideal customer and turn them into the lead that we're providing? So this will help you identify what those leading indicators are, because it's going to ask you, you know, what actions are you taking? So are you showing up on Instagram? Are you showing up on LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever? And then what are the real metrics that matter about those decisions? And they're not just people, you know, that, like, we really want to look for what will turn them into a lead. What is that conversion metric? What is that lever that you're looking for? And then when we go through the close stage, same thing. What steps do we take to close our leads and turn them into a customer for the thing that we are providing? And so this will help you break down and understand, when does my attraction stage end, right? I've attracted this person. This stage has now ended. I need to shift not only my perspective on who I'm speaking to, because this person went from being, are you guys familiar with, like, I can't remember the marketer who started this, but it's like someone who's unaware, then they're problem aware, and then they're solution aware, and then they are like brand aware. So everyone in your attraction stage, they are either unaware or problem aware, meaning they don't know anything about the solutions that will help them with that bleeding neck problem, and they sure as heck don't know anything about you. So the attraction stage requires that you step into the frame of saying, hey, my name's Bailey. We don't know each other yet, but I think I might know a little bit about you. Do the following things sound familiar? Right? Do you have insomnia? Do you have, you know, nasty thoughts in your mind about your weight, whatever it is that your offer is, you need to show up and address where they're at in that psychological stage. Then when they've said, oh my God, this person knows me like really well, this is kind of creepy. What are they talking about? And then you're going to start talk about, the hypnosis program that you offer that has helped people get control of their inability to sleep, that has allowed them to rejuvenate, get better results at work, have better relationships in their family. You start talking about the solutions, right? The way that those solutions help benefit them. And then you're going to talk until you're blue in the face about those solutions and your approach to those solutions until that same person who was originally completely unaware of how to solve their problem is not only aware of the potential solutions, but aware of the options of the people and the services who are providing those solutions. Because at that stage, you need to rise above the competition and say, yeah, you could go do hypnosis with this person, and you can go do weight management with that person, and you can get a personal trainer over here. Or you could come to me and we'll do this, and you present them your program and your offer. So you're going to continue to only develop and create and deliver the assets, the resources, the communication that the people need in order to address everything that happens in their mind during the assessment or evaluation stage, where they're understanding what their options are and trying to decide whether or not that option that you've created for them is the right fit. So this is stage 2. Okay, then you're going to go into the delivery stage. So this is the point where they said, okay, I'm going to go for it. This is, Jessica, here's my credit card. I'm trusting you. And that's an entirely new stage of your business, right? So what systems, processes, people, offer, assets do you have to ensure that that person, from the moment that they hand over their credit card, or send you a PayPal or Stripe or whatever, that they feel seen, heard, that they trust you? You best believe the time people are most ready to bolt is when? Do you guys know? Directly after they've purchased. You guys have heard the term buyer's remorse, right? Something happens, they're so excited, they're so ready to go, and then they put their money where their mouth is, and suddenly they're like, oh my God, that was probably not the good thing. Give me my money back. I changed my mind. My husband's going to kill me. What about my kids' tuition? Whatever the thing, right? And it's your job to make sure that you have the systems, processes, people, assets, whatever in place to say, whoa, now let's remember what you're doing here. You're doing, you have XYZ problem. You've just invested in ABC solution because you want to feel this, right? Stay with me. Let's do this. This is an entirely new stage of your business where you deliver value. So you're accepting them into the fold. You deliver them the value that they need from you. It's your responsibility to give them what you promised them, right? So you have to show up and deliver that value. So what are you doing? What steps are you taking in your business to ensure that they not only see that value, but experience the transformation that you promised? And only when, and I want to so emphasize this, because this is the number one thing where I have to reel all my clients back in, is they're like, okay, what next? What next? But you are only allowed to go into retention or ascension stage of your business when and only when these people have received what you've promised. You have to give them what they bought. And sometimes this is a long process. All of these can take years for some people. At the attraction stage, I'm sure there's people that have been on your email list who have been there for months or years, right? And they are still clicking, they're still engaging with some stuff. It's because they're not ready. They're evaluating. The pain isn't big enough for them. You don't need to exile them from your ecosystem. I have a lot of clients, we have strategies where we remove, sort of the dead weight from the email list that you're paying for. There are strategies that you can put all sorts of people on a free MailChimp list and just send them like real standard, once a month nurture campaigns if they're really not engaging with you. But if someone is taking their sweet time to get to a place where they say, okay, I'm ready, you gotta allow them to take their time to get there. And then same thing with the close. Now there's tons of strategies and you guys are in the right community to expedite this process. Of course, we don't want people lingering on close for too long. We want to capitalize, strike while the iron's hot, so to speak, or when people are in that honeymoon phase, when they're really ready to go all in, like that's where you really want to build that relationship. So you start to build, that's why it's the momentum engine. This might take a little while and then it gets a little faster and then it gets a little faster. And then suddenly when they're in that retention and ascension stage and they become proficient and confident and basically they become an advocate of what it is that you're offering, you can sort of take the pedal off the metal a little bit and say like, hey, this is a two-way relationship here. Like I'm going to continue to add value to you, but like, what are you bringing to this community? And that's where referrals come in. You can incentivize all sorts of things. I gamify everything. I give all sorts of fun incentives for people to bring more business my way and, grow our community. And like I said, affiliates are a big part of my business. And so you'll have different strategies in place. But again, affiliate programs, I'm not thinking about that until I've dialed in the first three, because it's a different stage of your business.
Yeah. And it's important. Something not to be just brushed on. It's something I talk about a lot because we do a ton of partnership transactions around here and a lot of relationship. My personal opinion on this, guys, is that if you don't have a predictable, proven, consistent conversion mechanism, you have no business. It's irresponsible to invite a partner to promote to you, because number one, you won't help make them money. Most importantly, you won't be able to solve their clients' problems because you won't enroll them. And that defeats the whole purpose of it. So make sure you have a proven, consistent, predictable conversion mechanism so that for every 100 leads they send your way, every 100 clicks gets how many registrations, how many people show up, how many sales. So you can predictably be able to share with them what kind of experience and outcome they could expect. And that makes you just a much more powerful partner for people.
Okay, how are we feeling? Is this like making sense? Is this making you feel like your business is in these like chunks, right? Because a business sometimes can feel like I have a business, I just don't really know what it is. I do this thing and I hope it works, right? But your business is not your offer. Your business is the system that supports your offer. Your offer is your goods, your essence, your expertise, right? Is the you part of the business. It's not the business itself.
Yes.
Okay.
So how are we doing, Bailey?
Good. Okay. The last couple of things here is, so once you are clear on what these 4 stages are, then you need to start to put in the identifiable kind of features of them. So you're going to list out who's going to be involved in, bringing these different sections to life, and what are the activities or assets or resources required to move people through each stage of this system. Then you're going to set targets for each of these phases. So how many subscribers do I want? How many lead conversions do I want? How many attendees to the webinar do I want, etc. And then it's really important to understand the scaling model. So I work with a guy who did a lot of consulting with Uber, and he taught me this, and it's basically this idea of 1-3-10. So there is obviously a burning ambition to make things grow as quickly as possible. But before something is validated and effective, you need to first take 1 person through it, then 3 people through it, and then 10 people through it. Once, and you can do all of that manually. You don't need to have automations or any of the like fancy bells and whistles in place to validate whether or not this is working. Now, one important distinction about this is that they need to be the same kinds of people or the same kinds of product market fit, right? And so this doesn't mean that, okay, I've taken one person with kind of one pain and one solution, and part of my offer addresses them. And then I've taken 5 other people, but those 5 other people have kind of different offers, different sections, different pain points. We want to make sure that you've taken one and then 3 people through it and then 10 people through it. Once you've done that, you've dialed in something that's going to work and that it's scalable. And that at that point, you can invest in, upgrading automations or hiring someone to take some of this work off your plate. But until you've dialed in this 10 times over methodology, you're going to have systems and processes that are constantly changing and evolving, that if you try and build out automations or hire someone to do the job, it's not going to work because they're going to have to be tweaked for every occasion. Does that make sense? Cool. What I said, so activities, tactics and activities you do to move one person through the engine will not be the same when you're moving 30 people through the engine. So we need to validate before you spend that time. So just to recap, what key actions does a random person perform to become a lead for what you offer? What are the series of steps that someone does to drive that key action? Who on your team and what do they need to do to fulfill on this? What key actions does a lead perform to become a new customer in your business for what you offer? What series of steps does someone need to perform in order to drive that action to happen? Who on your team or what activities need to occur in order for this stage to happen? You guys get where I'm going. What key actions does a customer need to perform in order for you to deliver the value that you promised? What series of steps does someone perform to drive that key action? What does your team and activity need to do? Okay, the way that we kind of score this is, this is where I leverage Funnelytics. It's a really powerful tool. And so what we'll basically end up doing is map out what the different processes are for each stage of this funnel. So we have kind of like a strategy map. And then we, long story short, put analytics on. I'm going to save all of the details and the how of that because it's a little bit complicated. And why did that go there? That's okay, you don't need to do that right now. So basically what we're saying are these are the teams and activities, these are the roles, and we have our ad source. This is the funnel page that they're going to go to in the lead KPI, sales calls to a customer. There's going to be different things that you're going to have, right? The tactic or the strategy is the funnel or the process that you're using. The activities are the indicators that are going to occur in each of those activities. And then the teams and roles are, of course, how that, happens. And so when you're setting this up, you just want to understand for the attraction stage, what are the targets that we're looking to achieve? This is just an example that I pulled from our Funnelytics. Who's going to be the lead? Who's going to support that person? What is the goal that they're looking to achieve, right? So these are the teams, the targets, the stage, the targets, teams, and activities. And you do this for each and every single stage. You get really clear on how that works. Okay, the last thing I wanted to share with you here, and I'll jump this sheet into the chat for you guys and you can all have this. I read this book. I've probably read this book like 12 times. I've listened to it on Audible. I don't know how many times. It's so good. It's incredibly valuable for every single business owner. Has anyone here read this book before? Yeah, I figured Jamie. Never Lose a Customer Again, Joey Coleman. He's hilarious. First of all, his Audible version is really like easy to consume. But the breakdown of the book is basically the 8 stages of the psychological journey. And these are a little bit more broken down details of attract, close, deliver, retain. So those are the sections of your business, but it doesn't really address what's happening in the minds of your audience or your consumer. This book will fill in those gaps for you. So I've actually I've used this book so much. I've made, I don't know how much money after implementing basically this as a book report and giving it to my clients, or giving, this is how we built Funalytics into what it is. You guys can have this here. I'll put this in the chat for you. And this is basically just a cheat sheet. So walk you through it. There's the different phases. I highly recommend that you read the book, right? Please. But assess is what's happening in your tracked stage, right? So what are they doing? Anything that's happening in here, and it goes through a little bit of the experience, the responsibilities of you as the business owner, the area of the business that you need to address. And then Joey talks about these 6 strategies. So in-person tactics, email. So think about your events and that kind of stuff, email, mail, phone, video, and presents like gifts, gift cards, whatever, that kind of stuff. How can you show up for each stage of this customer's journey? And then he provides, some questions for you to sort of chew on and ask about your business. What are you guys doing in each stage of this person's journey with you? And then he goes through admit, right? This is where they close, right? So they've said, okay, I'm ready to do this. Let's do this. So what their experience is and what your responsibilities are, and then the different ways that you can make it exceptional. Affirm happens also in the close. This is where you're addressing buyer's remorse. Activate is also, activate is when you start to shift into your delivery. This is where they adopt the processes that you are teaching them and basically say that, how you're doing this is basically what you're offering is what I want. So I'm gonna remove all of my preconceived notions, all my fears, all my challenges, and I'm just going to give myself over to you. You take the wheel and I'll do what you tell me. And if I do what you tell me, you're telling me that I'm going to achieve what you're telling me I'm going to achieve, right? And then of course there's the accomplished stage. They have to achieve the thing that you've promised. And at that point, they're going to shift into the retention stage. This is where they adopt you as the tried, tested, and true methodology, the reasons for their success, and they become a massive advocate of your brand and your business.